you've stumbled upon furry content on the internet, be it on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, etc., or maybe you even searched for it yourself, and you were watching more and more of this content, and you thought to yourself, how do I do this? How do I get involved and make these characters? How do I become a furry? Well, let's find out. Firstly, what is a furry? Well, Wikipedia defines the furry fandom as a subculture interested in anthropomorphic animal characters. That is a lot of words, so let's break it down. The word subculture means a group of people in a culture that think of themselves differently from the rest of the group. So this could be things like emo, scene, etc., or even goth. But we're talking about furries here. The word anthropomorphic shows up a lot in the furry fandom because it is the furry fandom. Anthropomorphic basically means having human characteristics. So, if we put all of that together, we get a furry being someone who is interested in animals or animal characters with human characteristics. So, how do you become a furry or part of the furry fandom? Well, if you're already interested in animals with human characteristics, so animals that walk and talk and have facial expressions, even wear clothes or all of the above, then congratulations, you're already a furry, if you want to be. But how do you get involved? Getting involved in the furry fandom, like actively, can be quite intimidating. How do I get a fursona? What is a fursona? How do I get any of the things I need to be a furry with very little or no money at all? And these are all very valid questions. Questions that I will try to answer. Being in the furry fandom can seem like a very expensive hobby, which it can be, but the keywords here is seems like. When I joined the furry fandom, I was a young 12-year-old with no money, no art skills, and seemingly no way to enter the fandom whatsoever. But this is not true at all. Well, the bit about me being a 12-year-old is just the whole bit about not having art skills and stuff. That's not true. You don't need money or art skills. If you have access to a laptop or a PC, or even a printer of some kind connected to these both, then you are in luck. In the furry fandom, there are very generous people who make things called free reference sheet bases. That's a very long sentence. But basically, a reference sheet is a showcase of your character. They normally contain 2 views, maybe a close-up of your character's face, or facial markings, and then maybe a few other extra tidbits here and there if need be. Most importantly, a colour palette and the species. Now normally you could get yourself commissioned a reference sheet using maybe just a colour palette and a species, and you can go up to an artist and be like, hi, I want you to make me a fox with these colours, and the artist would be like, yep, that's $100. And you're like, that's a lot of money. Well, that's where the free reference sheet bases come in. Free reference sheet bases are, as the name suggests, completely free to use in most cases. I say in most cases because if you Google free reference sheet base, maybe something that comes up might not be free, so just double check if it is. But free normally means it's completely free to use for you to colour in like a colouring book. That basically means that you can create the character that you want using that base. And normally all you really need to do, if any responsibility at all, is just give credit to whoever made the base. So don't remove their watermark and things like that. Reference sheets are a very useful tool for getting artwork of your character. Once you have a reference sheet, you can get artwork commissioned from artists, very, very talented artists, or you can even use that reference sheet yourself so you know what your character looks like, because trust me, you will forget. Even I forget what I look like, and I am me. They are very useful to have, especially as a reference for colours and markings. But what if you don't have money to even get artwork from your reference sheet? Well, again, there are free bases for things like artwork. You can look up a free furry base where there might be a wolf running in the forest in its line art, and you can just colour it in. And again, normally the only real responsibility you will have is not removing the watermark of the person who made it. These can be very useful for getting your own artwork or your own profile picture of your own character, because using a character from Google Images is not normally the best idea, because it's not your character, and the person who has got that character might get a little bit uncomfortable with you using it. I literally lived off of free bases when I started off in the fandom. In fact, I still use a free base. I use a free reference sheet base from Catbird. It will be in the description, the link, but it basically looks like this. This is my reference sheet. And this is a completely free to use reference sheet. It's a bit difficult to use because you need to have experience editing in GIMP or Photoshop. I used to use GIMP to edit the base and then colour it in paint.net. It's entirely your choice how you do it. However you feel comfortable is normally the way to go. Oh, and by the way, paint.net and GIMP, those things I mentioned, they're completely free. Another way to get artwork in the fandom for free without using free bases is to enter artwork raffles. However, entering raffles can be a bit difficult because you need to be 18 plus or have a parents/guardian's permission for most cases. Maybe not all artists have that policy, but I know I do, and I know a lot of artists do have that policy because people under 18 can't normally enter a legally binding contract. Now, I know an art raffle is a bit different, but again, some artists may still go by this, so just make sure if you have your parents' permission, or if the artist doesn't need you to have 18 plus ID or anything like that. But free raffles are a really good way to get involved by getting artwork from your favourite artist. If your favourite artist does do raffles, then entering them gives you a chance to get artwork from them for completely free in most cases. Again, some artists might charge for it. It's a bit weird. Make sure that you don't just have an account made specifically for entering art raffles, because a lot of cases, if your account looks like it's only made to enter raffles, then you won't be counted in some raffles, because it's not fair that someone who enters thousands of raffles a day wins, because they might win thousands of raffles a day. So it gives an equal chance to everyone if that is not the case. Sadly, fursuits are something that younger furs will always struggle with, younger furs being younger members of the furry fandom. This is normally because fursuits are quite expensive, they are a luxury item, they are bespoke costumes made by costume makers, custom made in most cases for you, tailored to your body. So yeah, they take a lot of work and care and normally are quite expensive. However, when I started off in the fandom, things like dino masks and lava fox suits were not common or didn't even exist at that time. So I had to wait 9 years to try and get my fursuit and save up for this. Furries who are younger can just buy a dino mask and follow tutorials online on how to make it look how they want it to look. Or lava foxes, which are budget fursuits basically. Whilst their quality might not be the most amazing in the world, they are definitely a very good option for people on a budget. However, once again, dino masks that are custom made or lava fox suits can sometimes reach upwards of 100 or more, which is a lot of money. But there's even cheaper options than this. On TikTok there are things called dragon puppets, I believe that's their name. They're basically just paper puppets of people's characters that you wear like on your hand. And that is entirely free. It's all you need is well, I say entirely, if you don't have paper and pencils then you might need to spend some money, but all it takes is a clean piece of paper and some colouring pencils and a tutorial or two to figure out how to make the puppet, which I'm sure is not very difficult. I've never tried it, but I'm sure it's not very difficult. If you can make those chatterbox things, then I'm sure you can make a little puppet. But they are an excellent way of expressing your character in a way that is completely basically free. And they are quite popular. I know that a lot of people do like those, so get involved. It's as simple as that. And I really do wish I had these options when I was younger, because they really were not a thing. And younger furries And younger furries continue to make amazing budget options for other younger furries, and for even other people who might not have a very big budget. But remember, at the end of the day, all you truly need to be a furry is to just be a fan of furry things. If you are an absolutely massive fan of Nick Wilde or Kovu from The Lion King 2, then you're in luck, because you can already be a furry. You can already consider yourself to be a furry. There is no application process, there's no right or wrongs. It's just if you're a fan of furries and you want to be a furry, then you can say that you are a furry. And that's all you need, because at the end of the day, the furry fandom is a community of people who like animals with human characteristics. And I know that the fursuit side of the fandom is a lot louder than the ones without, but a lot of your favourite furry artists probably don't have a fursuit. And at furry meetups, even though again people tend to film and take pictures of the fursuiters, there are hundreds of people at meetups who don't have suits, who might not even have characters. I met someone at London Furs, which is a meetup near me, and they said, I'm just getting into the fandom. I don't really have a character yet, I don't have a fursuit, but I want to see what it's all about, so I came to find out what it's about. And that is perfectly fine. You don't have to have the costume and everything else. You can just be a furry if you want to be one. Thank you very much for watching the video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, yada yada yada, the thing that everyone says. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye! Mwah!